The group, which has previously focused on economic issues, called for an end to war crimes in the Gaza conflict. Leaders of emerging economies called on Tuesday for an end to Israel's war in Gaza and a cessation of hostilities on both sides to ease the rapidly worsening humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip. At a virtual summit chaired by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, BRICS group condemned attacks on civilians in Palestine and Israel, with many leaders calling the forced displacement of Palestinians within Gaza or outside region war crimes. We condemn all forms of individual or mass forcible transfer and deportation of Palestinians from their territory, one chair's summary said. The group, which did not issue a joint statement, also reiterated that the forcible transfer and deportation of Palestinians to Gaza or neighboring countries constitute grave violations of the Geneva Conventions, war crimes and violations under international humanitarian law. BRICS consists of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. All major emerging economies want a greater say in a global order that has long been dominated by the United States and its Western allies. These countries are often seen as leaders of the region called the Global South in international politics. But these 5 countries weren't the only ones talking about the war on Tuesday. Earlier this year, BRICS agreed to expand Egypt, Ethiopia, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, UAE and Iran and add members starting from 2024. The leaders of these 6 countries also attended the meeting called by South Africa. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres also attended the summit. The president's summary, essentially a summary of mood in room, highlights growing calls from global South for an end to war in Gaza Strip. In response, Israel relentlessly ed Gaza, targeting hospitals, schools and refugee camps and killing more than 13,000 people, most of them children, in violation of international law. Since then, millions of people in Africa, Asia and the Middle East have marched for free Palestine and called for a ceasefire. Experts in Africa elsewhere have accused the United States, Britain and the European Union of hypocrisy for claiming to be bastions of democracy and human rights, while supporting Israel's war in Gaza. Increasing assertiveness. While the president's summary appeared moderate and somewhat balanced, according to Steven Gruzd, an analyst at the South African Institute of International Affairs, some countries were more combative in their presentations. South African President Ramaphosa, the current BRICS chairman, said in his opening speech at the meeting that Israel's actions clearly violate international law, and that collective punishment of Palestinian civilians by Israel was a war crime to genocide. Ramaphosa also said Hamas violated international law and must be held accountable. India's attitude was comparatively softer. External Affairs Minister Su.